go before
We
we
are
do
live now. Thank you.
So,
Wonderful. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the meeting of Central Otago District Council for 30th of June 2025. We do have Councillor Laws and Councillor Duncan joining online. Thank you both very much. And I will begin with a karakia. Kia hora te marino, kia whakapapa punangu te moana, hei hoa rahi mā tātou I tēnei rā, aroha atu, aroha mai, tātou kia tātou katoa. Homie, huie, tāia. No apology for lateness from Sarah because she is already here. Thank you. I do have an apology from Nigel, please, which I'm happy to move. Sally's happy to second that. All those in favour? Again, carried. No public forum today. Declarations of interest. Start on page 8. Please keep an eye on those and let us know if there's anything that you think may be a conflict, even though we've just got the 2 papers today, and step aside from anything that you have a conflict of interest with. We now move very excitingly to the adoption of the 2025 to 34 long-term plan. Welcome, Paul and Don.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will take the report as read, all 490 odd pages of it. I really appreciate taking the time to read it. I've just got a few notes, if that's okay. The long-term plan is the culmination of a massive council-wide effort. The council team here completed it on the 25th of June, so we had 6 days up our sleeve, which is probably the fastest LTP that I've ever been involved in, so it's been very good. It came back from hot review with a clean, there were no changes to it, which I think was also very good. We have 2 emphasis of matter in the audit opinion. First one being uncertainty over the water service delivery assumptions, and that's understandable given the decisions haven't been made on what that looks like and won't be made until the 10th of July. So we've been operating with the best information we have available. So that will become clearer in the new year. And we also have uncertainty over land sales. The auditors felt that further out into the long-term plan, the projections that we had were a little bit more uncertain than we thought about, so we accepted that. You also know the LTP land sales, the balancing of the budget depends on us achieving those land sales, so they will be front of mind when we move into the new years. Those emphases of matter are effectively the auditor's way of drawing the reader's attention to some points, but they do not affect the audit opinion. So we have an unmodified audit opinion, which is effectively a clean audit opinion. The auditors highlighted to the team the high quality of work that was undertaken by the team and the accounting treatment that we used for recognising the transfer of the water assets from CODC into a new regional entity will be used by the auditors as their standard going forward. So I think we've achieved a little bit of good stuff there. We've made small adjustments to the revenue and financing policy, and that was effectively to align the table with the coloured squares on it with the following tables, so they were picked up by the auditors, so we corrected those. The signed opinion, we've received the signed opinion. That's been issued to us, but it's on the proviso that there are no changes to the LTP. So once that's done, we can use the opinion, and on behalf of my team, I'm happy to recommend to Council the LTP 2025-34 for your consideration. Happy to take questions.
Thank you, Paul. Questions?
That's a piece of work. Good job. Statement, not a question, but especially under trying circumstances and with a lot of
So many
things
moving
unknown.
pieces.
I think that's a really important part that has been identified, so, yeah. Good.
Thank you.
Perfect. Was there anything you wanted to note on this bit?
No, I just reiterate the points you just made. It's, there was a bit of flux early on with the team as well, and then fortuitously we got the government to defer, for councils to defer. I think we were better off deferring at that point in time. We've had a little bit more certainty, albeit still uncertainty on the waters, but at least that gave us something we could plan for and accommodate within the plan. And we also were able to locate a CFO and that sort of stuff, which is pretty important when you go into a and I might add, even with Donna and Gasova, who had a lot to do with this. This was their first LTP process. So even it's for small councils, that's not uncommon, and that people experience it for the first time. This is my second LTP, and it's definitely a lot more complicated this time around than last time, from my experience, because of the government reforms and just the economic situation that the country finds itself in. So it was quite a challenging LTP to navigate through. And so we were certainly grateful for the guidance and the diligence of the councillors, because of your direction, and we took a lot into the consultation document, more than what many. But the fact is, a number of things changed as a result of the consultation, which reinforces that councils be listened. And I think that's really important in today's day and age, that people can sway views of councillors by coming out in public and talking about passionately what they believe in and what they think is should be funded and shouldn't be funded. And then in the mix, you have to make that decision. But it's got us to where we are now. And as the auditors are happy with it, I'm very happy with it.
Right.
Yeah, it's quite a compliment to the team, actually. You wanted to give them that statement. Because I've been around this table long enough to see auditors' opinions come back the complete opposite. And a whole lot more work's had to be done. So, and the other thing about the public engagement has been really good.
Outstanding.
Yeah. And we listened.
Did anybody online want to make any comment?
I'm here now.
Anya,
Sorry, I
thank
missed what Paul said. I got the last bit was said thank you, so I don't want to relitigate what's already been said, but I'll just see what comes next.
Yeah, same.
Perfect. Paul just emphasised the emphasis of matter, of which there are two, which of course are uncertainty aspects, the uncertainty around water, which is understandable, and the uncertainty around land sales further out, and the reliance on those to balance our budget. But I think we have still been quite conservative in those assumptions going forward. So I'm comfortable with that.
So on those two matters, I think there's nothing new in them. We get them every year just about, especially the one about the land sales. And surprise, surprise, the uncertainty around the three waters. Guess what? I think everybody knows that. So I hope they didn't charge extra for it.
Yeah, hopefully not. And then for me, I just wanted to say thank you very much to the team for this long-term plan. This is, of course, the one that was deferred from last year because of the uncertainty around water. Hindsight, I guess we potentially could have run with it, but I think we have ended up with a better quality product from having done the annual plan last year and then into the long-term plan this year. And I guess what this highlights to me, especially on page 14 of the agenda, where we have the resolutions from our meeting, where a number of halls and facilities came back in alongside funding, additional funding for the Manahira Community Hub, for retaining the Alexandra Pool, for accepting the Roxburgh Pool into council's facilities, the new artificial turfs, to fund the Blossom Festival. I think there is a lot that has come out of that has been the community's steer, as Peter has said. And I think, especially in the current climate, it's important to highlight that a society is the sum of its parts. And councils are not just roads, and councils are not just water, and councils are not just rubbish. we are pools, we are parks, we are libraries, we are blossom festivals, and that this long-term plan in particular is not CODC's long-term plan, this is Central Otago's long-term plan. The people have told us the nice to haves that they want to retain in the face of really challenging financial times for a lot of families, really challenging times for businesses, really challenging times for local government as we continue this back and forth with central government around what is our role, what are we responsible for, what do people want to pay for. And I think it is really important to note that our community came back and said these are the things we want to retain, because this is what builds our society. People don't usually generally move to Central Otago so that they can flush their toilet and clean on the tap. They come for all of the nice to haves within our communities, and I'm really proud that our council has been able to achieve that balance, recognising that for some the rates rise is going to be a bitter pill. There are people who would like us to not be doing anything more than the roads and the rubbish and the water. But I think a record number of submissions supporting the facilities that we have chosen to retain is a really important thing for our communities. So I am very happy to move recommendations A through to G. Can I have a seconder, please? Thanks, Tracy. Any further comment or questions on those? All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. And then we can move on to page 561, hand in hand, effectively the setting of the rates.
I've got a couple of comments here, Mayor, if that's okay. This is slightly different to what you're used to in the past. This is probably more correct from a legal perspective. After the issue we had last year, we had Jonathan Salter review that issue, and one of the points he made, and it was something that I'm used to, is that the rates resolution should be the rates resolution in its entirety, not referring to a document appendix A, which caused us some problems last year. So this rates resolution has been reviewed by Jonathan Salter, so it has had a legal review, and it complies with legislation as well as our rating fund impact statement that is contained in the long-term plan. It's more correctly listed as a resolution rather than as attachments, as I've said. We have reviewed it, and all of New Zealand have reviewed it. So it's been through 3 or 4 sets of eyes. So we think that this is correct. Just a wee point there. There are 3 resolutions, in case you missed it. A, you'll be receiving the report. B is to resolve the rates, and then C sets the due dates and penalties. I don't think that was tucked away in to the resolution. So just in case you missed it, you will be resolving 3. Happy to take any questions.
Yeah, I've got one. I'm really intrigued that, for goodness knows how many years we've done the resolution the way that we've done it, and last year it tripped us up. But why is there not a consistency of standards through the audit process that would have identified this as being something that should be done this way? It beggars belief to think that as part of a rigorous audit process that wouldn't have been picked up there, and it takes some minor thing that came up last year, whatever it was, I can't remember, to say, well, hey, you should do it this way, when I don't know how many years we've been doing it, but it's probably 20.
Yeah, understand that. I can't answer specifically for the auditors, but they're not lawyers. And I think
Surprised.
if you remember back to Kaipara and their audit, their rate setting issues back in the 2010s, that sort of time frame, there was a mad rush by Audit New Zealand after that to check every every rates resolution. They got comfort, and then that kind of dropped away. But having discussed this with our legal advisor in terms of rates, we probably should have been doing it this way. The other way's not wrong, but there's more, I guess you can trip yourself up more easily the other way. And Audit New Zealand, as I say, they will look at what is presented in front of them, and I suspect that prior time it was presented correctly, and then when you put it to the council, that's the paper's not been right. They don't check the paper that goes to council.
Yeah, they do an annual report though that I would have thought would start with that resolution and follow it through. But I guess what I'm really saying is that it's the inconsistencies from the audit process that don't pick up some of the things that are important, procedurally correct, which you'd expect an audit to get. That's the bit that I don't get, and I hope that we make that point to the auditors and say, well, you know, I think they missed and they should be doing it properly. As you said yourself, after the Kuiper stuff, they got some comfort, then they buttoned off, and then there's a legal issue, and you know, I just expect better. That's all.
That's not, yes.
And hopefully with our bit more consistency in our audit team, which is what we have been promised, we might see a bit more structure for that going forward with any happening.
And where did you refer to where the penalties and the dates were in the resolution?
It is on, of the entire report, page 558,
Recommendation C.
which is recommendation C, to set the due date and penalties. And that's for both rates and water billing.
Oh, so it's okay. So it's not a separate C. It's just buried within the yeah. Sorry, I was looking for a C basically. Oh, there it is. There, I found the C. Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Really hard to pick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but thank you.
one thing that I noted in that with the due dates, finally, because it was always a bugbear of mine, that the poor people of Pies and Moorings used to get their water rates bill on Christmas Eve, and they will no longer receive that the week before Christmas now that we have 3 readings. So Sally.
I was just going to mention just in this new way of setting the resolution as well, that we did have this pass through our audit and risk team, and so that was good, and we got reassurance through there as well that we were doing it correctly.
Perfect. Any other questions or comments? Anyone online? No.
No.
In that case, thank you.
Again, kind of like, this is the first time in this, not only this format, but the first time we haven't had wards represented. So this is now all districtised.
This is all district policy, apart from
The grant.
these graphs. Yeah, that's the only thing that still has a ward flavour to it.
Truly Sid Fortado's long-term plan. I'm happy to move recommendations A, B and C further down the document. Martin is happy to second those. Any further comments? All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you very much to the finance team.
Yeah.
A huge achievement. Cracking to the next one, aren't we?
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Start that tomorrow.
So you should too.
That was below
Only got 2 years this time.
The date of the next meeting will be Thursday, the 10th of July, where we will be discussing water. Something new and different for us. Peter, would you like to go for the colour?
Yeah. Whakatakata hau ki te uru, whakatakata hau ki te tonga, ke mā kina ki uta, ke mā taratara ki ta e hi aki ana te atakura, he tia, he hoka, he hauhu, te hei mauru water. Sure.
Kia ora, thank you very much. If you want to end the live. Neil, are you still there?
I'm not going anywhere. I wish I was there actually.
Cheryl and Stu.
Yeah, still here.
Yeah.
Make a new link and send it to them.
If I hadn't realised everybody else was